Hello, how are you? This is Hira from Team Vallath, and this is part 2 of famous LGBT writers. In part 1, I discussed 4 writers. In this video, I'm going to discuss 3. Who will they be? First will be Audre Lorde, American. Second will be Alan Hollinghurst, English. Third will be Armistead Maupin, again, American. Okay, first let's start with the most important, Audre Lorde. Complete name, Audre Geraldine Lorde. Lived from 1934 to 1992. An American writer and a professor. She called herself proudly Black, lesbian, feminist, socialist, mother, warrior, poet. Basically, a lesbian writer and a mother of 2. That is how she described herself. Audre's poems and nonfiction are an expression of her anger and outburst at the civil injustice and the social injustice she felt in America during her time. She was a voice of change. She was a voice of civil rights movement. She was a voice of Black art movement. She had so much to herself, right? Credited to herself. Look at Audre on the screen, lived from 1934 to 1992. Audre co-founded the first US publisher, or you can say press, for women of color. This is important. In 1980, Audre Lorde co-founded Kitchen Table Women of Color Press. Kitchen Table Women of Color Press. She co-founded it along with Barbara Smith and Cherry Moraga. And this Kitchen Table Women of Color was the first US publisher for women of color. Now come to the very important poetry collections by Audre Lorde. Her first volume of poetry is called The First Cities of 1968. Lorde's second volume of poetry is called Cables to Rage, important, Cables to Rage of 1970, which addresses themes of love, betrayal, and complexities of raising children, basically motherhood. And there is one poem in Cables to Rage called as Martha. In Martha, Lorde openly came out to say that, yes, I'm a homosexual. In Martha. Another work, From a Land Where Other People Live, was published in 1973. The theme of From a Land Where Other People Live by Audre Lorde is struggle with identity and anger at social injustice. Theek? 1974. In 1974, another work was published by Audre Lorde called New York Head Shop and Museum. New York Head Shop and Museum. This showed the civil rights movement as well as Lorde's own poverty-stricken childhood or stricken childhood. Other important work was called Coal, published in 1976, which is basically a compilation of her earlier works. Coal of 1976. And it was Coal which established Lorde as an influential voice in Black arts movement. Next work by Audre Lorde is called Between Ourselves of 1976, followed by Hanging Fire of 1978, followed by The Black Unicorn of 1978. Black Unicorn is her volume of poetry in which she speaks about African female deities of creation, fertility, and warrior strength. So Africa is the theme in The Black Unicorn of 1978, Audre Lorde's volume of poetry. Very important poet. Look at Sister Outsider. This is the cover of Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches by Audre Lorde. Subject of Sister Outsider is the necessity of communicating the experience of marginalized groups to make their struggles visible in a repressive society. अगर इजी भाषा में बोलूं तो बताऊंगी कि मैं दुखी हूं, इसीलिए तुम्हें पता चलेगा कि मैं दुखी हूं. बताऊंगी that I need reform in society, and that is why you will and I will bring a reform in this society. That is what Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches is about. After this, Audre Lorde published a historical poem about the fall of the Berlin Wall. She named it as East Berlin 1989. East Berlin 1989. Then, after poetry, come to prose by Audre Lorde. Her famous prose works are, first, The Erotic as Power of 1978, in which she said a woman should not suppress her physical desires. In fact, she must embrace it if she wants to find her true strength and liberation. Do not run away from your eroticism or from your passions. You should enjoy it. The Erotic as Power of 1978, an essay by Audre Lorde, followed by The Cancer Journals of 1980. This is a very difficult book. I have to tell you, Audre Lorde, she got breast cancer, and her struggles with this disease of hers was brought in the Cancer Journals of 1980. And in 1988, there was again, you can say again, she fell ill because of the cancer, and she had a lot of problem. So she got this into a burst of light of 1988. So I can say the Cancer Journals of 1980 and a burst of light of 1988, these are works related to Audre's struggle with her health. And A Burst of Light won the National Book Award in 1989. In between this, she published her biomythography, which she titled Zami, A New Spelling of My Name, in 1982. Here, she explored mother-daughter relationship. And also in Zami, she said that as a child, she dropped the Y from her first name. Her original spelling was Audrey, but she dropped the Y because she said she liked the artistic symmetry of E endings in Audrey as well as in Lorde or Lord. All right. So that is what is discussed in Zami, A New Spelling of My Name of 1982. Now, how is she connected with the theory of difference and the theory of intersectionality? Her work called as Age, Race, Class, and Sex, Women Redefining Difference. In this work, although Lorde never mentioned the term intersectionality, but the approach to her work was based on the theory of intersectionality. You can say she stated the factors like race, class, age, sex as fundamentals to her experience of being a woman. She made a connection between them. She got an intersection of all these race, class, age, and sex, and she used it in their work, in her work. Therefore, theory of intersectionality gets related to Audre Lorde, although she never mentioned this. And her writings were also based on the theory of difference. Basically, she says that difference is that raw and powerful connection from which our personal power is forged. So we should celebrate this difference, because the idea that the binary opposition between men and women is overly simplistic in our literature. That is not how it should be. Audre says, she says difference is the connection that is between a man and a woman. Tick. Now look at Audre's partner. See, among the few relations she had with various women, initially she married a man with whom she had 2 children. That's how she had 2 children. She was the mother of 2. But later she developed relationships with other women. She was a lesbian. And she, at the end of her life, lived with her Black feminist partner named Dr. Gloria Joseph. So on the screen, there is Audre Lorde and Dr. Gloria Joseph. Together, they did a lot of social work. They founded several organizations like Che Lumumba School for Truth, Women's Coalition of St. Croix, US Virgin Islands, Sisterhood in Support of Sisters in South Africa, and Doc Lock Apiary. Okay, these are various organizations, you can say, that were started by Audre Lorde and her feminist partner, Dr. Gloria Joseph. Last years of Audre Lorde. 1991, she was appointed as the New York State Poet Laureate. New York State Poet Laureate. But she died in 1992 because of breast cancer. Last of her poetry collections. Under song Chosen Poems Old and New was published in 1992, whereas her last volume of poetry is called The Marvelous Arithmetics of Distance, which was published posthumously in 1993. And she died at the age of 58 in 1992. All right, with this, Audre Lorde is done. I know I extended it a lot, but then there was so much to talk about her. And let me tell you, this is actually not complete. I've just introduced Audre to you. You can explore more, you can research more. You will find her very interesting. Let's come to the next writer of the day, an English writer called as Alan James Hollinghurst. He is with us. He's aged 70 right now. He was born in 1954, winner of various awards like Somerset Maugham Award of 1989, James Tate Black Memorial Prize of 1994, and Booker Prize of 2004 for his work, The Line of Beauty. ठीक? Look at Alan Hollinghurst on the screen and his piercing eyes. Famous works of Alan Hollinghurst. First has to be the Man Booker Prize winner, Line of Beauty 2004. Line of Beauty, The Line of Beauty, is the story of Nick Guest, a homosexual, and his male contemporaries in Oxford. All right, the story is chronologically set in 3 parts, The Line of Beauty. First part is called The Love Chord of 1983. Next part is called To Whom Do You Beautifully Belong of 1986. And third part is The End of the Street of 1987. Themes of the Line of Beauty are homosexuality, drugs, harsh reality of Thatcherism, and AIDS. The Line of Beauty by Alan Hollinghurst, winner of Booker Prize. When? 2004. Other very famous works by Alan Hollinghurst are The Swimming Pool Library of 1988, The Folding Star of 1994, The Spell of 1998, The Stranger's Child of 2011, and The Sparsholt Affair of 2017. The Sparsholt Affair is the story of a father and a son, David Sparsholt, and his homosexual son, Johnny Sparsholt. And this Sparsholt Affair depicts the changing attitude of the English society towards homosexuality. Okay, done with Alan Hollinghurst. Let's talk about the last writer of the day, Armistead Maupin, or Armistead Jones Maupin Jr. He's aged 80. He was born in 1944 in America, an American writer who is connected only with 10 series of novels, of course, connected with a lot of other things. But then if you talk about Armistead Maupin, you have to connect him with Tales of the City series. Tales of the City series, a series of novels set in San Francisco saga. It's called as a San Francisco saga. Look at Tales of the City by Armistead Maupin. This is like the cover page. Initially, Tales of the City was serialized in San Francisco Chronicle. Later, it came out as novels. 10 novels written from 1978 to 2024. Subject explores the lives of this group of eccentric friends who hail from San Francisco. Why am I saying San Francisco? Many of these friends are LGBTQ. And where do they live? 28 Barbary Lane in 1970 San Francisco. 28 Barbary Lane. Do you want to know all these 10 names of novels of the series? Here it is for you. Let's read them. First, Tales of the City, a novel of 1978. Second, More Tales of the City. Third, Further Tales of the City. Fourth, Baby Cakes of 1984, where Maupin addresses the subject of AIDS. Fifth novel of this series is called Significant Others. Sixth novel is Sure of You, a novel of 1989. Seventh is Michael Tolliver Lives, a novel of 2007, which continues the story of some of the characters from this series. Eighth novel is Mary Ann in Autumn, a Tale of the City novel of 2010. Ninth is The Days of Anna Madrigal, a novel 2014. And 10th and the last in the series is called Mona of the Manor, a novel. Talking about all the characters from this series, Maupin says, I have always been all the characters in one way or the other. So this is that personal to Maupin. With this, we are done with today's video. If you liked it, you have to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, Vallath by Dr. Kalyani Vallath. This is Hina from Team Vallath, your educator from Vallath Education. Take very good care of yourself. Bye-bye.